They also have that for non-committed.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah.
It sounds like it's committed.
So is that why they got it?
They got the one because they put in the non-committed, but if they do have their funds, I'll consider that committed in this for.
Hey guys, for rehabilitation services, we have Cheryl Adamson.
Well, say the next thing.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
For being here. We'd like to spend about 12 minutes with you.
Okay.
All right, and about a 6 to 7 minute presentation, and then we'd like to have a few minutes at the end to ask questions. And if you'll just keep your eye right here on Jess, you'll kind of know where you're at.
Thank you very much. I'm Cheryl, and I'll just pass these around. So it'll take a second for this. Oh, I didn't keep a page for myself. Thank you. So we are asking for funding for the ABLE project, which stands for A Balanced and Healthy Life for Everyone. RAW is a program that provides services and supports to adults with intellectual disabilities and also to their families. And the page that you have with the colored picture on the front gives you a summary of what RAW is about, what our program is about, what we strive to do for our families or our participants. And then the gray page is going to focus on what I wanted to talk to you about, specific to CDBG grant funding. Thank you very much. Did you end up getting a copy? Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
So you have a lot of decisions to make, a lot of people asking for funding, and so a question that I would ask myself if I were in your position is, why do I fund this organization? And so I wanted to answer that for you. Why should you fund RAW? First of all, thank you very much. We have wonderful cities in our community. A lot of them have good social recreational programs for our citizens, great park and recreation programs, good recreation centers. A lot of communities have recreation centers, swimming pools, wonderful senior centers. However, very few services targeted toward people with disabilities, and no city-sponsored services targeted specifically toward people with intellectual disabilities and their needs. There are some adaptive programs and some inclusive programs, but no programs in any of our cities that are specifically targeted for people with disabilities. RAW feels this need in our communities. Just like people who are seniors enjoy interacting and socializing with people that they can relate to, people that understand their life experiences and may be interested in the same things that they're interested in, people with intellectual disabilities are the same. They appreciate having a community, having a support group, and our program is that for them as well as for their families. We do focus a lot on integration. We involve people without disabilities to come to our program and volunteer and be involved. We encourage our individuals to be involved in the community, but we also recognize the fact that they have a right to be with their friends, spend time with their friends, be with people that they can relate with, and also have programs and services targeted to their needs specifically, just like we would for a senior center. The next item is, I want you to know about RAW, if you don't know much about us, is that funds that come to RAW are well spent. We are extremely frugal. Anyone who knows me, some of my staff don't think it as a compliment how frugal I am, but we are very, very frugal. And I take very seriously any money that is gifted to us. It is spent wisely. We do not buy new and fancy things. If you come to our building, you won't see anything new or fancy. Everything you see probably had a previous owner that loved it before we loved it, or we are loving it. And we don't buy unnecessary items. So we own our own building, which is a real benefit to our organization. So we don't have that overhead to work with. We don't buy unnecessary items. And we make sure that our funds that people donate to us are targeted specifically to help people. And we are very careful about that. Next, another reason that I hope that you'll consider funding Viera is families we have. One dynamic in the population of people who have intellectual disabilities is their parents. We have this group, this segment of our population of parents who have kept their children at home, loved them, cared for them, taking care of their every possible need, and these parents are getting older. And they're getting tired, and some of them are ill. And in the state of Utah right now, the Division of Services for People with Disabilities is the leg of the government that provides services and supports to people with disabilities. They have over 3,500 people on the waiting list, people who are waiting for help. I know people who've been on the list for over 20 years. So when people say, why don't they just have the state help them? Why can't the state just do this? Well, they can't. They don't have the resources right now. So we have some parents who now that they're getting older and tired and then having needs themselves, they need help. And even some younger parents that are getting tired already. And so we are there for our parents. And one thing that we have been able to do is start a day program where children who have aged out of the school system can come to RAW, have some stimulating, organized activities and programs that benefit them and also give their families a break while they're with us. So that's a way that we can help parents, one of the ways that we are able to help the families. Sorry if the glass is going on and off. We don't receive other funding from the state of Utah or from the federal government. CDBG funds is the only government-attached funds that we receive. So tax dollars do not come to RAW in any other way. Thank you. And you're welcome to read the remainder of those in the time that you have, and I'll answer your questions. If you have any. If not, I'll ramble on, because anybody knows me then.
Looks like you do fundraisers.
We do. We have one, well, our biggest fundraiser is the Raw Walk. Our participants do contribute to their own program. And last year they raised over $27,000 for their own program. So we write grants, we do ask for donations, we do lots of things like that.
Cheryl, can you, because I've been to a site visit, and when you say these parents are tired, I mean, some of the parents are elderly, and their children are 40, 50, 60 years old.
Yeah, we have some parents that are 80 and above that are facing not being able to drive, they're facing their own health concerns. Oh my gosh. Bless their hearts, some of them don't realize just how difficult their own situation is. They keep saying, oh, I think I can. And I usually say, I think you need some help. But yeah, we do have, it's an interesting dynamic that's happening right now. It's kind of one of the baby boomer things. But yeah, it's a segment that we're really trying to help right now. Any other questions?
How would you raise this money next year so it will be sustainable?
Well, to be truthful, I hope to be able to apply for CDBG funds again. And I know that one of the goals of CDBG is to help an organization be self-sustaining. But I will do anything. I write grants. Today the Comcast people came and checked on our business plan, and which we just gave up because we found a cheaper way to get services. And I said, hey, do you guys live locally? Would you consider volunteering? I'm hitting people up all the time, so I'm not beyond doing anything. But the reason why I hope to continue to apply for CDBG funds is I do think it's a city issue. And I think that these needs in our community need to be addressed, and I don't think that our Parks and Recreation departments are prepared to do it. And I think that if we don't handle some of these needs up front, then the rest of our city departments are going to be overloaded. If we're not meeting the needs, we will see them in another way. We'll see them in crisis intervention, we'll see them in police department issues. And so I would hope to continue to receive some support through CDBG to help what we're doing in the community for these families and individuals. But I will always be looking for funding resources through grants, foundations, fundraising, and other methods.
Any other questions?
I appreciate your time. I know that you have a big decision, a lot of work ahead of you, I hope the Post-it notes come in handy. You can make notes on it. I always hate to get things like this out because I am so darn frugal that I got such a really good deal on it. I have to tell you. So I don't normally buy things and spend money, but sometimes I do like to give something out and express our gratitude. And I am grateful for your service and your time and all that you do for our community, because it takes a lot of people to make one new organization or class help people. So thank you for your time.
Just been thinking they had kind of a low score on the organizational chart. I was gonna say, I thought I saw it yesterday.
We actually got them, Utah County and Provo have done them times in the past. A couple times they've given back part or all of their grant, they weren't able to do the project. So they got awarded money to do it, gave that money back. And then just issues of getting contracts signed in a timely manner has been a struggle. I don't think that's because it's not a good or worthy organization, but Cheryl does manage a lot of the day-to-day, and so that impacts her ability to be really responsive and carry out projects sometimes.
Yeah, I think that would be the downside, where she tries to do it all,
Yeah.
and it's just literal sometimes.
Yeah, and now she mentioned the frugality, in the past, she maybe doesn't ask for as much as they need to actually accomplish the project because she wants to keep the ask really small and really she can do a little bit more to be able to accomplish something.
Have you suggested that, or can you?
Yeah, we've been, in these last couple of years, just telling people, tell us what you actually need to do the project. And when we say, what is the lowest amount you would accept, give us a real number, don't go so low that you can't accomplish the project. We want to be able to be successful, we don't want money back.
But the money that they do use goes to what's supposed to be?
Yeah, when she can do it, they do great work and there's a really good organization, but sometimes they just can't administratively get it done. That's why I'm just good. So for the next one, it looks like Rocky Mountain is here. So if we see them, make sure you skip Center for Women and Children in Crisis. Don't score that. He might be, I know Dr. Clausen, the director, was supposed to come to us, so maybe they're not ready. We'll see. We're still waiting for something. Oh, okay, yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Get a drink. Stand up. Yeah.
Is it Dennis or? Yeah.
scores.
I know the whole thing is the
She'll tell you.
For the community rehabilitation clinic, we have Vic Morris from Monday and Colby Klossman.
Skip to us.
Yeah, make sure you skip
Okay.
Center for Children in Crisis.
Should work.
All right, well, welcome.
Hi.
We'd like to spend about 12 minutes with you.
Great.
And if you'll keep an eye on Jess, we'd like to take about the last 5 minutes for some Q&A. So we'll turn the time over to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. We appreciate you having us today. So we just want to give a brief presentation on what the Community Rehabilitation Clinic is.
Sorry. I need my glasses, make sure I get the right button.
There it is.
Yeah, it's right next to it.
Sorry.
Vic.
No.
Candace's fault.
There you go.
There we go.
You could just spin it up if you want with the,
It's a PDF, it's not a.
Oh,
presentation, it's harder.
what's wrong with it?
It's a PDF.
Oh yeah, go down like that, just do this.
Okay, gotcha. That's easy.
Roll down.
That's
Shut
it.
it up.
all right, let's start that again. So we're the Community Rehabilitation Clinic. We're run through the Rocky Mountain University of Health Professions Foundation. So the Community Rehabilitation Clinic was established by Rocky Mountain University to improve the quality of life, the function, the employability, and help people get back to function that are struggling with impairments related to their health. So we're primarily a physical therapy clinic, and we've been treating patients all around Utah County for the last 5 years or so. So here's a brief overview of some of the services we provide. We're primarily an outpatient orthopedic physical therapy clinic, but we also see patients that have had surgery, patients that have balance and vestibular problems. We treat a lot of chronic pain patients, which is big with the opioid epidemic. That's a lot of physicians refer to us for that. We do some neurological rehabilitation, including our multiple sclerosis clinic that we hold twice a week. We do electrophysiology and electromyography and some pediatric physical therapy as well. So here's kind of the state of the clinic since 2015, when the clinic was open for business. We've since that time we've seen nearly 2,500 patients, and we've performed nearly 14,000 or a little over 14,000 patient treatment visits since that time. And we use a program called FOTO, it stands for Focus on Therapeutic Outcomes. It's an outcome measurement system that's used by several thousand clinics and physical therapists nationwide, and in some other countries like Canada and Israel. And it allows us to track the function and how well our patients get better due to our treatments. So we've been using that for the past few years, and something big that's come up is with our photo scores is we're consistently getting our patients a little bit better as far as their function and their pain, a little bit better than the national average, but at the CRC we do that in 8 visits compared to the national average, which is 12. So we're trying to be responsible and use our resources very efficiently to get patients in and out and back to their full function as quick as we can. So if we've done a little math, and if we take those 4 visits that we save on every single patient, we figured over the last 5 years we've saved almost $3 million of just resources that have in the clinic and in the community that would have been billed if these patients would have, gone somewhere else. That's what we've saved in cost savings for billing. So a couple other photo scores. Again, that stands for Focus on Therapeutic Outcomes. That's an outcome measurement system that we use. But we're consistently in the 90th percentile in photo, and that indicates effective treatment as well as efficient uses of our monetary resources. And our functional scores are consistently above the national average, so patients are discharging a little bit better than you go into a private outpatient clinic anywhere in the country. And we have a 97% patient satisfaction rating. So a couple other important parts of the clinic is we get a lot of volunteer help. So this helps us and it helps our patients because we need the help there, but it also provides students from BYU and UVU and some of our students, our physical therapy students, the opportunity to come in and work with patients and get their shadowing hours and prepare their applications when they prepare to go to medical school or physical therapy school. So we get a lot of help from students, and the patients see it as a way to kind of give back to those students because they're getting their treatment for free. So here's just a few of the patients. I'm not going to spend time talking to any. We have a patient of the month that we put up every month, and they talk about their story. And there's a place you can go if you want to read some of our patient stories over the past few years. So some of our vision and some of the needs we have. So we continue to have a big need. We're almost consistently backed up 2 to 3 weeks for people to get an evaluation to see us. And we have a lot of physicians around that are starting to find out about us and send us patients, and I think they're more willing to provide pro bono care or do a pro bono surgery if they know their patient will have somewhere to go afterward. So we're feeling that need for a lot of these physicians, and so that's one of our our vision going forward is to continue to fulfill that need the best we can, and to continue to provide high quality care. Some people think of pro bono or think of free care, and they think of subpar, and our scores consistently tell us that we're doing a little better than the national average, and we're being even more efficient with those resources that we get. And we also want to create a good learning experience for our physical therapy students, our doctoral students, as well as those that are preparing to go to graduate school, or we get a lot of interpreters that are Spanish. Their major is in interpreting, medical interpreting, and so they come over and help us. So we're trying to provide a good educational experience for them as well. And then, you can go ahead and go to the next one. So our plan of action, we want to increase our ability to treat patients. So our plan is to bring on another full-time physical therapist and try to staff more hours so that we can see more patients and increase our treatment hours per week. And then there's always a need for equipment and supplies and maintenance there. We also are aiming to maintain our photo scores above the national averages, and to start including more of our PT students over there so that we can give them a good experience and also see more patients. So we can go ahead and take questions.
How does this clinic interact with the new medical school? I'm assuming that there's some kind of expansion that's happening. Is this going to be connected to that at all?
Go ahead, Vic.
I can answer. The medical school is, we're looking at it right now, and there has been no definitive decision yet in relationship to charity care, but I think there's an inclination. The president of the university definitely wants to go down that road. And so there is potentially a point in the future where we may bring all of our clinics within one facility. That'll be down the road a ways, probably 3 or 4 years. But we do want to provide the opportunities for the medical students as well as our PA, because our PA students already are interested in doing a clinic as well, and provide that care. Since Mountain Lions Family Health Center is such a great partner to us, we want to do anything we do along those lines. We want to collaborate and coordinate with them so that we're not duplicating each other, or competing against each other. We have no intention or desire to do that. And we have a great relationship with them. They refer probably almost, what would you say, 65-70% of our patients to the CRC comes from Mountain Lions. And so, we want to keep that. But I know that as this county grows, they're not going to be able to keep handling the volume. They just won't be able to do it. So there's going to be a need If any of you are familiar with Malaya Clinic in Salt Lake City, which is a pro bono, very major pro bono clinic in Salt Lake, I think we would love to mirror that facility down here at some point in the future. They're not interested in coming down here, but the way they go about it is exceptional. And we've already had some of our students going up there and volunteering in their clinic as well. Does that answer your question? Kind of. So, but you know, as far as if we have, you know, patients that come to a clinic that's operated by the medical school that need physical therapy, yeah, so they would definitely refer those patients to us as well.
Just want to clarify, in your line item budget, this request was to personnel, PTAs, and coordinator. Would this request go specifically to hiring that full-time therapist, that additional therapist, or is it going to be spread?
It possibly, yeah, in part, it would probably be, but yes, yeah. Because that's, you know, a fairly large chunk of our budget. Bring on a full-time, everybody to this date has been part-time.
Okay.
And so, other than the clinic coordinator, she's full-time.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay, so these other personnel, they're already on staff, not
They are
hires.
on staff, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, but we probably will, because we bring on a full-time, we probably would be looking at in the future adding another assistant.
Okay.
And when you do another assistant, you probably need another aide as well. So those are future hires that, if we receive the funding that we need, we can move that direction. And if we move that direction, we can obviously treat more patients and increase our patient.
So part of that could be expanding hours too,
Yeah.
because like you said, right now people are part-time and we need them full-time. That would be ideal, but.
One of the things that on this other slide right here, we talked about a student-run pro bono clinic. You know, Colby Dr. Classen just came from that to here. We started that, what, about a month ago? Yeah, a couple months ago, on Wednesdays. So we could expand our hours into the evenings on Wednesdays, and we could bring in more patients. They could do some evaluation with a supervisor. So that allowed us to bring in some more new patients as well. Now we're looking at potentially with the new PT is expanding that to another day so that we do Fridays. So we have a couple of evenings open where people that couldn't come during the day before can now come because we have evening slots available.
Do you screen your clients for need or income, or do you take anybody?
Yeah, we screen our clients for, we see if they have insurance. That's another thing we don't want to do is compete with people out in the community that are running a private practice and trying to make it. So the nice thing about 70% or more of our patients coming from Mountain Lands is they're already pre-screened by the time they get to us. So we just go off their stuff, but we also screen for insurance as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for a point real quick, down at the bottom over here are a couple of new programs that we're looking at implementing this year. Building veteran centers within the clinic, as well as balance, fall prevention, and pelvic floor.
Thank you all. Good to see you. Thanks, man.
Is this yours?
Hey, they applied last year for Provo, right?
Yeah.
Did we award them? Is that what happened?
Just a heads up on their scoring, that nature project will probably
Did we
be
not
moved to
award
spring.
them?
Yeah.
They are hiring.
They've used all of it already.
No, we didn't award them.
So
Yeah, we
when you
awarded
read the
20,000.
thing though, it says,
Oh, it's not in there.
We did award 20,000.
Yes.
it says 30,000 will go to equipment.
I could have sworn.
I don't
remember that.
Yes.
In their line item, it says that will go to personnel.
Yeah, but it says the number one priority and the largest budget item is needed in funding is a qualified clinical staff at 143,524. Second priority is equipment and supplies 30,000.
Oh, okay, yeah, this might.
But it does say that it's all going towards staff.
Yeah, it does, the budget does.
Okay, are we ready for, turn back one section to the Center for Women and Children in Crisis? Okay.
Stephanie, I'll look at that as well.
All right, guys, from the Center for Women and Children in Crisis, we have Pendleton.
Welcome.
Thank you.
What we'd like to do is
Quite a
spend
crew
about,
tonight.
we'd like to spend about 12 minutes with you. And we'd have you present for about 6 to 7, and then we'll have a little Q&A in about the last 5 minutes. Just keep an eye on Jess here, and she'll let you know where you stand. So,
Perfect.
anyway, it's all your time.
Thank you very much. I would imagine that some of you at least know about the Center for Women and Children in Crisis. We provide domestic violence, rape, sexual assault, dating violence, and stalking support for victims of crime within Utah County, Wasatch, and Juab counties. The vast majority, of course, of our clients come from Utah County. We also take a few clients that are sent to us from some of the shelters in the Salt Lake area, Tooele, southern Utah, and other places when they have a need for safety or other purposes. We bring them to our shelter as well. The shelter program for domestic violence serves about 1,200 clients, or rather the domestic violence program serves about 1,200 clients per year. We shelter 300 to 400 clients per year. We provide rapid rehousing support to another 250 per year. We provide on-site assistance, and counseling assistance, and other kinds of support in more rural areas, as well as here locally for a variety of other kinds of needs. We have an aftercare program where we provide services to about 100 to 200 clients annually that once they've left our shelter program, we continue to provide support after they've gone into permanent housing for up to a year. We also have a transitional housing program where we provide probably up to a year and a half, mostly, additional support for people who have a very difficult time transitioning to independent lifestyle and are more likely to either return to homelessness or to return to a domestic violence situation, in which case, when we can't, we get them into the transitional housing program where they have continuous ongoing support. Support programs range from counseling, therapy, to independent living courses, helping people get into education programs, helping people get into employment programs, helping people to find housing, helping people to learn how to manage housing once they get there, a variety of things depending on their needs. And sometimes that can be quite extensive. We work very closely with Utah Valley University and also with BYU. They have extensive scholarship programs. They have other support programs at both schools that provide a plethora of additional support to many of our clients. And so in any way that we can, we try to help transition them toward independent living, or self-sustaining ability, which is really the critical issue. If they come to us in need of escaping a violent situation, the biggest hurdles that they face will be ongoing income and housing. Those are their big hurdles, and if they don't get past those hurdles, then recidivism is very common in this population. Having them go back to a violent situation and having them circle around for maybe sometimes many years until they're finally able to escape. And part of what we've done over the last 15 or so years is we've added in transitional housing programs and aftercare programs and outreach kinds of programs, is that we've reduced that recidivism rate, which now is nationally is about 33%. So about a third of the people that come through domestic violence shelters nationally end up coming back through their doors again. And we've changed that dynamic from here in Utah County, in this region at least, from it used to be about 34%, and it's now less than 10%, which is remarkable because there's a lot of programs that bring people together with helps to provide those services. So that's domestic violence programming. We also have, I'll just mention, we have a tremendous need for tripling the size of our shelter. This community has grown so big over the last number of years that we simply can't possibly meet those needs. Now, we've added in a rapid rehousing program, which serves almost as many clients as our shelter program does, which is great because we're serving more people that are coming to our doors, but there's still many that just can't get the services here in this county, and we have to send them off to other county shelters in other communities, which makes it really difficult for many who are tied to this community. So that is a problem that we're facing, and we're trying to work on in other directions. We also have a program serving sexual assault, rape, sexual assault, and dating violence. And that program is not usually a shelter program, though sometimes people need to be sheltered and in a safe place. But most of the time, it involves counseling, therapy, crisis intervention, accompanying people to hospitals or clinics for a Code R exam, providing the kinds of resources that they need to get through that. And then helping with anywhere from educational support to help them to come to understand the need for therapy, the need for intervention of some kind, to help deal with it. Because many people deal with these crises for many, many years after the event, and most of the time feel very much like they're the ones that are to blame for what happened, which is not true. But it takes some serious intervention over an extended period of time, sometimes for many victims to recognize that first of all, they've been a victim, and secondly, that they don't have to remain a victim forever, they can become a survivor. And so those programs have been very successful and very helpful. And we have about 1,200 clients per year. We receive, the FBI estimates that probably only 5% of rape, sexual assaults are ever reported. That's, of course, through the criminal justice system. We're private and we don't require people to go through the criminal justice system. So I assume that the numbers are a little higher, but it's a serious problem in the community and it's very underreported. You have questions for me?
If it's not always through the legal system, how do people find you to come using services?
That is a multiple choice answer. We have an outreach program where we provide probably 300 to 400 presentations annually to school groups, to community groups at large, just to let them know about the program services, to help adjust attitudes toward victim crimes and other kinds of things. We have an extensive outreach program. We have a web presence. We have a Facebook and other social media presence. We have we have brochures out at many of our first responder sites. So therapy offices. We work closely with the police department. We work closely with the nursing community. We work closely with a variety of first responder professionals to make sure that they're aware of the programs and services that we have available so that they can then refer people to us. So it's multiple ways.
Fair to say that most of the victim advocates in the cities are familiar with your program, right?
Yes, I think that would be very safe to say. Not all victims are, but most victim advocacy. I don't know of any victim advocacy program that wouldn't be familiar with what we do. We've been around for 36 years now, and most of the folks in the area know us.
Dennis, obviously we've been there for a few years, and the conversation about needing to expand the facility, more beds. We've had that conversation now. Well, the cost of that is so big. Are you seeing a path forward though, with some type of funding that? may allow that?
Yes, we recently had a donation of 5 acres of land out near the Provo Airport. And we received some funding from the state to do architectural renderings and engineering, excavation kinds of work out there. So we are moving forward. We've raised about $2 million toward the project, which is probably a $10 million project in the end, but we're moving that direction. So we haven't got there yet, but we are moving that direction.
That's wonderful.
Any other questions?
It says in here that you have an annual endowment that raises about $25,000.
Yes, we have an annual, we endow about $1.5 million. And the interest off of that generates about $25,000.
Is that in your leveraged funds items?
No.
It's not.
Any other questions? Thank you for coming, appreciate it.
Thank you for always being so supportive of what we do. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. That might drop a computer here.
Ever growing to the extent. Yeah, thank you.
Dinner finally arrived. How lovely.
Oh, yeah, if you are ready, please pass the sheets.
So, Michelle, is there a reason why that money isn't included in their operating funds?
The endowment, they did not,
Dan.
they have 2,500.
Yeah, it's 2,500, but in this, it says.
Just hit the
25,000.
pause button.
Don't know why they didn't.
Record and pause, hit that one.
A difficult time being able to stay sober. She came into the program, into the sober living, and participated in the treatment side. She has now 10 months clean. She works as a hairdresser. She had insurance when she came in, but because of the wage that she started making, she lost her insurance, which is good and bad. But because her kids were in DCFS custody, she had to pay a lot of money in child support. So the take home that she had was about $600 a month. With sober living, that's about $500 a month. And so she was left with $100. So she had no way of being able to pay for her treatment once she started making the income that could support herself, but couldn't pay for treatment. So the funding from CDBG stepped in and covered her last 4 months of treatment, which allowed her the ability to save up a little bit of money so that she could get out on her own, but yet continue to participate in treatment. So like I said, she has 10 months clean. When she started the program, she wasn't able to have any type of contact with her children. She now has visitations, and she gets to have her kids about 2 weeks out of the summer. So that's huge progress for her. Another gentleman, he was in and out of prison, in and out of jail for most of his life, started when he was 14. Again, had Medicaid when he came into the program, but lost it because he got a construction job. So CDBG funding stepped in and was able to cover the last 2 months of his treatment. He, like the other client was able to save up some money so he could get out on his own. But he's the foreman of his group. He makes, well over $18 an hour, but also has children that he had to pay child support. So the funding really does help individuals, and it makes a difference. He has also been able to stay sober for more than a year. And then we had another gentleman who, like the other two, had private insurance, was kicked off of that because he turned 26 and didn't have enough money to pay for treatment and housing at the same time. So funding helped him, and he is now going to school. He'll be starting school in the summertime. Has about 8 months clean, and is, there was something else about him. I can't remember. Anyways, the point is that the funding that we received last year is going and helping individuals and making a difference in their lives and ultimately in the community, because these individuals are no longer using substances, are no longer in and out of the system. They're able to be contributing members of society, creating healthy relationships with their family, friends, other community members. And so it really does, the money that, we got last year does make a difference in the lives of definitely those 3 individuals, but also the lives of other people that we're able to help. So thank you.
All right, do we have any questions?
How do people find your program?
A lot of times there's recommendations from AP&P officers, from other people friends, other treatment centers. They know that Building Beginnings will basically take the quote unquote worst of the worst, the people who can't get help anywhere else. So they call them up and say, yep, we'll take them. So they don't really turn anyone away.
It says the lowest grant award amount you accept is $15,000. Is that accurate?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to go below that threshold for the portion.
I mean, honestly, we would be grateful for any amount that you'd be able to help us with. 15 was the amount that we got last year, and that seemed to be a substantial amount where we could help those 3 individuals for longer than a month, and then a lot more other individuals for, a couple months here or a month there.
Any other questions? Thank you for coming.
Thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
having me.
Have a cookie.
Yes. Yes. Whole reason why
Or
I stayed.
And a potato if you want to eat it. Can't just eat it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
You good?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Hey, eat again. I don't know what to do with it.
So at this point in the evening, as soon as you have a score sheet ready, just pass it my way, if you would.
Oh my gosh.
So dumb.
It's not a natural disaster, we still have water, we still have gas.
I know.
We gotta go get our.
Why is everyone buying water?
So I grew up in DC, and every time there was a snowstorm announced, the bread and milk were gone. And then I moved to Utah, and every time there was a snowstorm announced, everybody went about their normal day, and it was so confusing to me.
Yeah, I have gone and gotten the milk that doesn't need refrigeration and almond milk that doesn't need. And like stuff like that, but I see everybody getting water now. But I don't drink instant, so maybe that's why.
Hey Steve, so is the city gonna shut down the water system because of the coronavirus?
No, we're just laughing about that.
What about sewers? Can we flood the toilets down?
Why is it bread and milk?
What's that?
bread and milk that's
Yeah.
gone.
I know. Things that you can't. Yeah.
I mean, at least we can wipe ourselves and drink, but we can't
Okay.
during quarantine.
Where's my gavel? I need a gavel. All right. Okay, we've got another group coming.
Andrew would be a good sales tax month for us.
Yeah.
Hello. How are you? This is Kids on the Move with Lorraine Clark, Scott Bean, and Alvin Martinez.
Well, welcome.
Hey, thank you.
Take them out of the,
Go ahead.
the other one.
What we'd like to do is spend about 12 minutes with you. And that would include about a 7-minute presentation and about 5-minute Q&A after that. If you just keep an eye on Jess here, she'll kind of know what, and you'll know where you stand.
I did.
Thank you. I'm Scott Bean, I'm CEO of Kids on the Move, and thank you for allowing us to
What's it called?
to come tonight.
Kids on the Move, I don't know.
And we've got a short
It's the
video
KOT
that
I'm
we'll
playing right
tee up, and then we have a special guest tonight that
Yep,
we're
there
just
it
going to
is.
introduce,
It's a
take a
video.
moment to introduce, or to
Does it go up on the?
and she'll just share a couple of minutes with you about what she does at Kids on the Move. Lorraine is part of our development staff, and she does some really terrific public events with us, and so she's here helping us with our video, and she does lots of other public events.
We're ready. So this is the video about Kids on the Move. I don't know if all of you know about Kids on the Move, but this will show the programs that we have. And we actually have a couple of additional pillar programs now. But this is going to give you a great overview of who we are and what we do. So. There you go.
Bright future. That's why we're empowering families, one kid at a time. To support the healthy development of young children and families across Utah, we offer services through 4 main programs. Our Autism Center serves parents and children living with autism spectrum disorders and similar developmental delays. If you are concerned about your child's development, early intervention provides assessments, therapy, and training. Early Head Start serves low-income families with infants and toddlers. And our Respite Care program enables parents of children with special needs to enjoy short periods of rest for stress relief, renewed energy, and restored balance. The best way to change the developmental trajectory of a child with autism is the early implementation of applied behavior analysis, or ABA therapy. Our board-certified behavior analysts assess the learning style, strengths, and deficits of each child and customize a therapeutic approach to maximize learning potential. We help children tackle tasks such as eating new foods, maintaining a healthy diet, sleeping through the night, increasing verbal language skills, engaging in appropriate play and social opportunities, accessing learning through the school system, and decreasing destructive behaviors. With 1 in 58 children diagnosed with autism in Utah, Kids on the Move provides therapy and hope to children and families in both metro and rural areas through clinics, at-home visits, and telehealth services. The Early Intervention Program enhances development and reduces the impact of disabilities and developmental delays in infants and toddlers. We provide services such as speech, physical and occupational therapy, family training, nursing and social work to children who suffer from developmental delays or medical conditions. Early intervention services can change the trajectory of development and help a child advance in line with typically developing peers. Our Early Head Start program serves low-income families with children 0 to 3 years of age throughout Utah County. Our goal is to help children achieve school readiness and maintain healthy interactions and relationships with their parents. We offer 3 types of services. Home-based services include 90 minutes each week to promote appropriate parent-child interactions. Our center-based services provide a classroom learning environment during the day, helping parents achieve stability as they continue their education or work to sustain their families. Prenatal services educate pregnant mothers in the home regarding the importance of delivering healthy babies. With all our services, educators help set appropriate family and child goals. We also provide educational information and referrals on safety, nutrition, disabilities, mental health, and physical health. Our respite care program gives parents the short periods of rest they need to relieve stress, renew energy, and restore balance. Respite care ensures a safe, fun environment for the children with one-on-one supervision. With multiple locations throughout Utah, more than 90% of our families say that respite is very important to their ability to care for their child with special needs. Kids on the Move exists to support the development of young children and their families in our community. By helping children improve thinking skills, do better in school, and develop socially, our programs enable kids and their families to live more prosperous lives.
I was playing again.
Oh, sorry about that.
Bright future. That's why we're empowering families, one kid at a time.
Hey, we can watch.
It's a nice little video, isn't it?
So what you may have before you is a request for some community development block grant money to help us fund a health manager position inside the Early Head Start program at Kids on the Move. The Early Head Start program addresses needs for families who live at or below the poverty level throughout Utah County, and for this block grant specifically for those who live in Orem. And the special guest that we brought today, her name is Alfa Martinez. Come here, Alfa, come on up. And Alfa is one of our teachers in the classroom. She's been with Kids on the Move for 6 years, but her career has lasted as a teacher for more than 30 years. I just wanted you to meet her and just have her take just a brief moment and share with you what she does and why she does it. That's all.
Okay. As a teacher, my first responsibility is to make the children feel safe and secure in the classroom. That is my priority, and also to make them feel stimulate their brains with love, because I love my job and this is in my blood, and I've been raising it the same way. My mom was my first teacher. My mom raised me singing and playing, because I grew up in a family of 13 siblings. And my youngest sister has Down syndrome, so I helped my mom at a really young age, when I was 11 years old, to raise her and to stimulate her, and to stimulate her brain with love. And that's what I've been doing with this child, with these kids in the classroom, because I love to be with them. And so as a teacher, I have routines. I have routines in my classroom. And my first routine and to do this transition is to receive my children. They are not even 24 months.
So we start with this song, and then I asked them, who's there? Who's here today? So the first activity that I'm used to do is social emotional activity. So because they waiting so patient, controlling their emotion, even if they are not 24 months old. So, and then when they answer me, I need to wait for the answer. Who's here today? Is Carmen here? And they answer me no. And then is Messiah here? They answer. So they are 8. And then when we're done answer me, I ask them to put their hand in their heart, and we start this song. We wish you well. We wish you well all through the day today. We wish you well. And this is like a prayer for me. So we start our day with a prayer, and as soon as we're done, we start having a breakfast. So then this is another transition. So I stimulate them, I encourage them, and I improve cognitive, growth motor, fine motor, and social emotional development. But my favorite one is the growth motor. I run with them, I play with them. At the same time that I improve language, I sing with them, I help them to improve language and to help them to communicate feelings and needs, signing, speaking in English and Spanish, even while diaper change and meal times, because I love my job. I love to be teacher because my job is not just to be a teacher, because I feel like I'm a mommy spending 8 hours with them. So I know we don't supposed to have attachment with them, but my job is like a therapy for me because I love to help kids.
Stay up here, Alpha. Thank you. What questions can we answer for you?
You say, a question I have is this non-federal funding, or non-HUD federal. What is that source? Looks like $2 million about.
It's about $2 million, and that is federal funding.
Not specifically HUD funding.
It's not HUD funding, that's correct. It comes out of the Head Start and early Head Start funding from let's see,
Social services?
Parent organization, I want to say it's going to be social services. Yes.
Any other questions?
Sorry, I forgot to say something, the last thing. The best way to teach the children is by playing. Children always play. It's the best way.
She's one of our best teachers. We wanted to bring her because she just instills enthusiasm, and to go into the classroom and watch her with the children in there is just a treat for us. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice if you could meet Alpha Martinez this evening for just a moment? So thank you so much.
Do you guys want a cookie?
No, thank you.
Trying.
You are trying.
I'm going.
Those are for you. And hopefully they're going to take those. Thanks very much. Thanks for having us. You're right. You get a negative score.
You take a cookie, you're in trouble.
Don't bring it over here.
Yeah, I'm putting them over here.
You try to give them cookies and you end up with a basket of candy. That's a negative score for you.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is it just back to overhead?
Okay, last one.
District. Here we have Janelle Christensen from the Family Support and Treatment Center.
Hello, everyone.
Janelle, did you say?
Yes,
Welcome.
thank you.
We'd like to spend about 12 minutes with you,
Sure.
and that would be about a 7-minute presentation, and then about 5 minutes of Q&A.
Okay.
And Jess here will kind of make sure you keep on track.
Perfect.
Good at hanging up those signs.
Okay, sounds great. Can I start usually on with you, Stephen, and we're going to take one of each? I'm so excited to be with you guys tonight. I feel like it's always a great challenge for me to smash what we do into 7 minutes. But it's something I love, and it's something I love telling other people about. So I definitely want to start off thanking the commission for being here, for all of you giving up your evening. I'm sure it's been a very interesting and exciting, but also long evening. So thank you for being here and giving up your time. And thank you for the previous support that we've had for Family Support and Treatment Centers programs. It really makes a huge difference for us and for the clients that we serve, and for this opportunity to apply for funding again in the consideration. Mental health right now in Utah County is such a huge need and a huge priority, and especially the mission of Family Support and Treatment Center to prevent and treat child abuse and family trauma is so important. Utah County is the youngest county in the nation. 34% of our residents in Utah County are younger than 18. So over a third of the population are minors, are children, and are considered, a vulnerable population that are at risk. And Utah state abuse and neglect cases for 2019 increased 6%. Last 2019 cases were about 11,000, and 16% of those were in Utah County in our service area, which is an average of between 5 and 6 kids every day that are experiencing those adverse effects of abuse and trauma. Lots and lots of research today. I know I'm throwing a ton of facts at you at the beginning. Lots of research today talks about what abuse and trauma does to development. There's so many effects that we know of about emotional, cognitive, behavioral, physical health development, and lifespan effects without intervention when kids are still so young and still so resilient, to be able to bounce back, to learn skills, and to be able to make that change early on. This need to intervene in these mental health challenges have been identified by Select Health, and their 2 top community health needs assessment were improving mental health and improving kind of some of those other categories, the decreasing risk of illness and injury, which is associated with mental health deficiencies. United Way's 2018 community assessment also talks a lot about citizens identifying mental health needs as their top 4 out of 5 priorities. So people around in our area are concerned about these things and are looking for resources and looking for help. And that's where we come in. Hopefully we can be that resource and can be that help for people when they're in these devastating moments of their lives. The Family Support and Treatment Center, like I said, our mission is to prevent and treat child abuse and family trauma. We have prevention programs like parenting classes and crisis or respite childcare, and in-school presence to teach kids safety skills, but we also have a treatment side of things, which is what brings me here today, to be able to be that safety net for these vulnerable populations when they experience the worst of the worst. In our therapy program last year, we served about 550 people in over 7,000 sessions. We're able to serve kids as young as 18 months all the way up through the lifespan because of the training that our counselors have. They are all CSWs, certified social workers, or LCSWs, licensed clinical social workers. Many of them have their registered play therapist certification or play therapist supervisors. We have clinicians that are trained in eye movement desensitization reprocessing. It's a really big new treatment focused on reprocessing trauma and with really effective outcomes, and 3 clinicians that do that. We have 3 clinicians that speak Spanish right now, and so we're able to serve that population as well. With our CDBG funds, we love to open this program up to that population that wouldn't be able to access services otherwise. Our abused children is now it's gonna slip my mind, assumed eligible population, but we really still like to try to focus on those who are extremely low, moderately low income levels. Everyone that was a recipient of our CDBG program this past year qualified in those income brackets, and that's what we would anticipate looking forward to next year as well. So our request from the 3 different entities would be a total of $55,000, which would be 45 individuals receiving between 14 and 15 sessions each, which is kind of the clinical standard or average for bouncing back from these types of things and being able to see real change and improvement in other areas of their life. Our breakdown of clients is about 30% in Orem, 18% in Provo, and 42% in other Utah County cities. So we're really kind of diverse that way and have a pretty big footprint in each of those jurisdictions. Like I said, we're so grateful this last year to have received CDBG funding, and we're well known in the community for being able to fill that gap for people who don't maybe have a funding source. And so our Provo funding we used in 4 months, and our Orem funding we anticipate to use in 6 or 7. There's just that high of a need, and then after that funding is utilized, we continue to see those individuals by either just charity care or trying to find alternative funding sources. But as you know, as resources are limited, having to narrow that down and be selective about who can access that is obviously necessary. So some of you will remember last year I brought dinosaurs with me. This year I brought alligators. So I asked some of my clinicians for success stories of CDBG clients and what they've seen. And one of the clinicians, our treatment coordinator, actually told me about a toddler boy, not very verbal yet, whose parents were going through an extremely volatile emotional divorce. And he would take this boy into the playroom, and kids know the work that they need to do and what's going on with them, even if they can't verbalize it. And he would go to the sand tray, which is really similar to the picture on your handout. He would go to the sand tray and he would get these 2 alligators, and he would set them apart from each other, and he would make them fight. And he would create a river, and they would fight over who owned the river, put rocks in the river, who owns the rocks. And that was his working that out, and being a witness to that enabled him to be able to heal from those things. So I love the examples of that we can understand as adults that connects what they're working through as kids. Okay. Thank you.
All right, do we have any questions?
Do your therapists provide like a discounted rate or anything for the services they provide to this income or this group of people?
Yes, absolutely. So our typical therapeutic rate is billed at $120 an hour for CDBG funding. We discount that to $85 an hour, but then also for other populations who maybe aren't on CDBG funding, if it's self-pay, we discount it to almost the same rate, usually 90 or 85 will match whatever LDS Family Services is charging at the time, as well as sliding scale kind of co-pays and things like that based on income level and family size. Yeah. We try to be as accessible as we can. We don't like to send them away.
And you're not a Medicaid provider, right?
We're not the official Medicaid provider, so Wasatch can refer to us. They can authorize people to come to us, but it has to go through them first. Yeah. So sometimes people can say, I live way closer to them, or because we have the child care that's in tandem with our therapy, it's very helpful for people to access that service when they have that barrier of child care removed. So sometimes that can be a reason that might be authorized too.
Any other questions?
Are you still the only one that does like the drop-in childcare? So like if a parent's having a hard day or?
Yeah, absolutely. So our crisis respite nursery is 24/7 availability for any parent who is in crisis, a mental health emergency, physical health emergency, basic needs, things like that, and they need to go take care of themselves or family issues. if they call us within 30 minutes, 24/7, we'll have someone there to watch their kids while they go take care of those things. And so, yes, it's available for that, and then during regular business hours, available to schedule for things like accessing therapy or doctor's appointments or court, and then just 3 hours once a week that we really encourage parents to take a break, to drop their kids off and go take a nap or go on a date or really take care of themselves so they can then take better care of their kids. Guys, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate your time.
Okay, you have to have a cookie. And you have to take those to the two littles.
I was just gonna say, they're at the library,
Yeah.
so I'll just walk them over. Thank you. You guys get inundated with treats?
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh. Gosh, you know, you're so sweet. Thank you.
Better.
It's getting to be a more empty tray. You're doing good.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
That's some bread.
Alright, I just need a few minutes to get all of these last ones under.
So have a cookie.
Still short of few score sheets.
So Steve, these people act like they know you, they just look at your name tag.
I think so. I mean, there's a couple of them I know well enough, but not, yeah.
Expires like the end of this year or something. I was talking to
And then tomorrow, if you want to.
anyways, just to call into that one website, or go to the medical reports. If you do that, the expiration dates are like, I guess people.
Okay.
But then,
So where do you want?
serve on there, then you have to come to me and set up a
Oh, yeah.
ID or something, right? So,
Oh,
Yeah.
but I'm looking to send you the current. I know.
I do that now, I've got passwords, but the password's forgotten, but then that way.
Okay.
But then, like I said, if you look at the planning commission, like,
That's not up to date.
yeah, so it turns short, that expired a while ago.
Okay.
So, anyway.
And you know somebody that's about to finish, right?
That's
'Cause
not
you're-
coming to the meeting.
Okay.
So it's just,
Oh, wow.
saying, I don't know
All in
if
one.
I have like.
That's part of the resume.
Yeah, I know. So do
We don't specifically have that, but I think it's something they still consider.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll send you a link right now. You know, 40 years.
Northeast. In high school, I lived in.
Oh, you know?
So like I said, so yeah, like I said,
Well, maybe someday I could do that before.
Oh, yeah.
I was at ED, so I know.
That's why I
Free
did
church.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so my wife's family are Strattons.
Oh,
And so obviously,
which one?
so, let's see. Nina Stratton.
There's one
Her,
that's called, I'm looking
hers.
at way, it's like.
There was like nine.
Yeah.
Anyways, her brother was Cassie Call. Her, so Kevin's dad was Herb, I think.
Okay.
Herb and Nina, my, which is my brother sisters. Kevin is my mother-in-law's cousin.
Okay.
Yeah, and George and James, right across from your office.
Okay,
their
yeah.
grandparents.
Nice, okay, yeah, because, I used to live in that, or just west, or just east of Warren.
Well, yeah.
And so there was,
They did.
Steve Stratton's, there's something, older, Stratton, so that used to be what was the Pirates.
Yeah.
And
That's the family. And her uncle lives, he's actually the property just on the other side of the north, Ralph Clay, you know, Ralph.
Oh, it's great that we've done this committee.
Yeah,
It's fun.
Yeah, a lot of roots there. It's, I have to be careful. You know, when you talk, that's.
Yeah, all the Cleggs, the Strattons, and the Crandalls, and all the things.
I like it, this is the first time that they've done this, and then we kind of deliberate. I think that's kind of cool, that we got the first generation of them. But this also is more mathematical, like.
Okay, sorry. That's okay, I do have it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm giving one to Phoenix. I like to just compare.
No, honestly.
Okay, it's okay.
Yeah, so, I've got
I do feel.
70 years in community college, and
Okay.
So, I found it in my library.
Yeah.
Where's that? Where just living then?
I don't know why they're here.
Oh, yeah.
I just started walking by my.
Say, I'm. Take this seriously in your presentation, it makes sense. I also
Follow me
perceive
around,
it
that's where all the connection, where all the dead bodies are buried.
presentation, there's numbers to just
Cool.
that.
Thanks, yeah.
Homer's calling
Then what
somebody.
do they do?
She's been on speaker.
Oh, okay, oh, yeah, that's right.
As my job, I don't know that people say they will come in, but I know what they do, and I know how many, like, family support improvement center.
They really needed some loan.
Even though they didn't represent their number is probably the highest. It's so much faster. You know, so I got represented.
Okay, Andrew, you got it.
Perfect, thanks.
They expect the funding at $85 an hour compared to what some of these other organizations can do with $85.
That is smart.
They're restful nursery, for a lot here, because they're the only restful. I mean, a drive-in, so like you, or me, or anybody in this room, if you were having a bad day.
Yeah, because
And
I'm
you have to
probably
go
built
down
in.
the stores, like, and you work on that.
Honestly, I think more, I would be interested in finding that than what she said the reason.
Okay, almost there.
So
You're not trying to
I
get your
really,
mouth around.
I use them because a lot of my
You do well, baby, huh?
So how did you find out about
I
it?
was the Empower Grandma's birthday. We used to help the women find their rentals and shoppers and
So, see,
things
what
like
they
that.
use for more
Entry.
So a lot of employee training, and then we do our council work session. Like work sessions a lot, and we've set up a camera to live stream those now. But then, yeah, employee training and employee meetings.
Government organization.
Well, it is.
It used to just be kind of an open rotunda with some couches.
With the Utah County Health Department.
Like most city buildings, you start running out of space, and you're trying to repurpose space. This one actually worked out pretty nice.
Oh, I know who you are.
Considered a risk
You have this other thing. You wanna
Right.
do this?
But
And
you could hook up very easily.
I had to
How do I
pull back.
Just
from
call
the
me,
left.
at
They're
Can
just
you
do
write
work
down
sessions in a
the
different
And then
chamber, yeah.
we.
This is a, yeah, it's just a lot more.
And also,
Productive, you don't have to count on it.
Exactly.
and also help
Yep.
grow, are you
You're all
on the
there,
database? You need to get on the database, because we
Yep.
are now doing Edinburgh screening
More collaborative.
and how we grow kids stuff and.
Did you work with Craig Whitehead also?
To give them
Oh,
resources.
yeah.
Okay, do you know what these are too?
I don't.
And so
Okay.
that's part of it.
Heard this went somewhere.
Pregnancy is our number one need right now, so we need more resources
Yes.
to send.
That's what we have.
Okay.
So
That's what we specialize in.
I'm giving myself, and so just tell me, and then I'll set up the time for you to meet with my coordinator and so.
A little bit of a rocky period.
Was it? Yeah,
The
yeah, I
IT system.
understand.
The iris system?
It's a referral system that we have to do.
Oh, cool.
And so you can get.
Yeah, so we've been a not-for-profit the whole time since 2013,
Who do
and
you
we just got our
correspond most
fundraising this
with?
year, and so now we're going to
David
wait
or
for them to get
Um,
us done.
okay, you know, they're usually both the same things I'm at, but Cabinet, because we're just, we're friends from school.
Oh, we got it here, so.
But
I've
it's
logged
usually
in.
the one that will email me, hey, we're looking to do this, how do you do this? I think he, you know, maybe he can just kind of research. But I think he's trying to.
Order it by,
Right hand down, or, you know what I mean, kind of does a lot more than
That's why it's so low.
just those things, you know that better than me, but, so, he'll email me about a lot of things.
And then if you skip down, I think United Way's score on the lower, but.
So you're going down, say,
Yep.
I do say but I would go back to a month later and say, have you heard back from them downtown?
Okay.
I'm hoping to
I mean,
take.
they're not going to go back and they're
Yeah,
so
for sure.
ready
I have
to
a
go
daughter
back.
that
Okay.
Oh.
But so there's.
Is everybody back?
Right? Yeah. Come a little early, huh?
All right.
Yeah, it's really a great,
Oh,
it's a great time.
who are they? They are over there.
All right, well, we've come to the fun part. And let me just put this over here. All right,
So yeah, we really.
so what you see here now is having entered the scores. We've ranked them from the highest score to the lowest score. And we've put a trial recommendation right there. One thing to note is that, if you remember, we talked on Monday, we have two separate pots of money, one for capital projects and one for the public services. Now, it turns out to be that the amount requested for capital projects is matching exactly to the amount we have available for capital projects. So, not a lot of discussion or
Great.
to have to do with that. So, can everyone see that okay?
Wasatch Meadow gets their addition.
Yeah.
United Way gets their new roof.
Oh, I should say, that was the 207, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the amount to United Way is 207. They had asked for the 307. 207 is what matches what we have, so.
Their final application came in at 207, and we didn't have enough for that, so
Okay.
we adjusted their request.
All right.
Can you zoom just a little bit?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to zoom in here. One thing we might want to consider with capital though is if Wasatch does not get the legislative money, what we want to do. Right, what we can do, right.
Yes. I thought they said they'll do it anyway.
All right, so,
They said they'll just change the scale of it.
is that looking all right?
Yeah, that
With the
question
scores?
should come up is what they would do if they didn't get all the money, security and roof or something.
All right, so based on the scores, the highest score there is to Rocky Mountain, and we fund, again, these are trial recommendations, fully funding the request. Next one is Center for Women and Children, again, fully funding their requests. Family Support and Treatment Center, Friends of Utah County, Friends of the Coalition, Boys and Girls Club, Community Health Connect, Rocky Mountain University, this is for the CDC application. Community Action for the food bank. Remember what I mentioned before, they may drop that off. $25,000 may be available there. Kids on the Move, Mountain Lands Community Health, that's where the money runs out. So the request for $50,000, we only put $26,000. That's again based on the amount of funding we have, which leaves everyone else under what, 73, with no funding whatsoever.
That's
right. There's several of them there.
Teens Act
Teens
and
Act.
Down is a
Oh.
different program. That's Provo only, so ignore
Yeah, these two.
And
That's why they have no scoring there.
Yep, so all those with zeros go to different programs.
So
Dan,
I
would you
guess.
mind reading the ones that, if we fully funded until we run out of money, would you read out loud the ones that would get no funding in this
Yes,
scenario?
the ones that would get no funding would be RAW, recreation rehabilitation services. Community action, the housing support set part. Project GREED would get no funding. Community action services and food bank, the circles would not get any funding. Building beginnings, substance abuse treatment wouldn't get any funding. Share a Smile would not get any funding. And the NHS, the community education program, what was that, the financial education, they came tonight. Big Brothers and Big Sisters would not get any funding, and that's it. All they do is go somewhere else.
With the possibility of Rob maybe getting the 20,000 that's left over from food and care,
From community action.
Community action, sorry.
Yeah, we could do just
Funding
or
that's come down.
that would fully fund Mountain Lands Community Health Center, but you could just go down the rock.
Again,
This is assuming we fund everybody 100%,
Yeah.
right,
from the highest score to the lowest score.
Okay, I'm with you. You would just fully fund the next
Right.
one.
If
Yeah.
you
Now-
wanted to do it.
That makes sense.
Something else to look at, as you remember on the first pages of your book, we were talking about priorities, right? And in public services, there were two that rose to the top, and one of them was mental health. The other one is victims of abuse. So those that would not get funded, that fall in that category, building beginnings would be one. I guess it's the only one. Everything else does get some funding. Then again, for those that get fully funded, that would not necessarily fit that category, would be who? Friends of the Coalition, Boys and Girls Club. We're trying to remember, Community Health Connect, I don't believe makes connection for mental health. Maybe they do, or maybe it's a lower scale. Can't quite remember that.
Can we pause just for a sec though?
Yeah.
Go back to the top. So just more clear on the scoring. So those right three columns, are those the scoring columns?
Yeah, sorry. So this
Are we doing an average
is
score? Are we doing a total score? What are we doing?
this is an average of your guys' score. This is the total administrative score, and this is the total combined of those two. So that's what we're looking at.
So it's ranked by that column.
Yes, I'm sorry. I should explain that from the very beginning. It's ranked by this column over here.
I'm like, how did they rank so high? But we collectively only gave them a 13.13. That makes me feel better because I was like, guys.
Yeah.
So on the question on the overall priorities, like, I didn't really see anything that was really a public infrastructure thing, but it had housing as the #1 priority across. But it looks like the ones that that have the highest score throughout here are more services for special needs versus being housing, as if housing was not the top priority at all. Because the ones that actually worked with housing didn't even make the cut, if you're going to have a cutoff on that. Is that
Talking about education?
what?
Talking about the project,
Well,
financial.
the overall priorities.
Right.
Where housing was first, you don't see housing in the ones that got the higher scores in this. Do we need to have the fact that housing is the #1 priority does that mean that we should be bumping up anything that has to do with housing up higher or no?
That's a possibility, but like, what are you looking at that could be part of it?
Just the fact that the overall priorities and
Yeah.
priorities for individual groups.
Based on those statistics,
Right.
housing was the #1 priority on the back of the page, you can see for community members, followed by mental health. So it was like 60, 30, 10. That was how it was divided. Housing was a really big deal, and then it was the public services, and infrastructure was there, but it was a really far down third.
And I will point out too, that infrastructure priority would be addressed in our different pot of money. So Utah County is going to have a separate committee that looks at our capital projects that deal with infrastructure program, and we'll do that. That's going to be addressed elsewhere. That also goes for some housing projects. We each individually fund some housing. I think the ones here that might qualify is the Neighborhood Housing Services Education Program and then the Community Action Housing Support. I think those could fall under that housing priority. So it is possible that we move their rank up if the committee decides that if that's a strong priority, this is the way you wanna address it, is through these programs as opposed to American Individual.
I guess I didn't know where the priorities came from, it was just the first thing in here, and so when I
Oh,
was,
sure.
so I was just wondering, I mean,
Dan,
if
can you
we're
sort
supposed to
by
keep
our
those
score?
priorities, then that would make.
Sorted by your score?
Yeah, I'm just curious, sort of by our score?
Well, you know, the balancing act is that we have priorities, but then we have to weigh out the application.
Yeah, there you
ability
go.
To receive it and how to use
Interesting.
it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so that's kind of where I'm at with it, because they're not prepared or ready to use it. Even though it's a priority there, it's hard to fund it. But
Yeah, those definitely are balancing, which is why we'll discuss it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to fully fund until you run out of money, that's an option as well.
Right, yeah, they don't have to be fully funded. Actually, in the 18 years that I've been doing this, we've never fully funded. Well, I should say maybe 95% of the times we're fully funded, because we always get asks for more than we have, so. All right, so Sarah had wanted to see how they would rank scoring by the scores that you did. And so that's how they look at now. Wasatch Mental Health still at the top, but not what to worry about. So Mountain Lands comes up to the top. Friends of Utah County Children's Justice comes up there. Community Action. So you see one here. The Service Community Action Housing Support is in there, right? Where before would have had no funding. And Boys and Girls Club comes down towards the bottom, again with Rocky Mountain and Kids on the Move.
Where was Kids on the Move, and was it funded?
It was funded,
Yeah.
pretty close to the bottom.
Yeah, 20,000. So,
And we're second to a bottom.
yeah.
I feel like the administrative scoring was hard because a 5, 3, 1, you were ranking whether they were easy to work with and what their history was on the same thing, and so I feel like some of those numbers were hard. They should have been separate scores. Because you could rank somebody easy to work with, super easy to work with, who never has a history with you, and they'd automatically get a 1, where I'm like, no, some of these, if we're trying to create sustainability in these organizations, we should be encouraging first-time applicants who have their act together. But the scoring just takes them down to 1. So I feel
It
like
should be a 3 if they have no history.
well, it said one was also that they've never applied before, first-time applicant.
Yeah, that's a 3.
What is the 3? No, you're totally fine.
A 3 out of 5 for a first-time applicant. who'd
And what
never
was a
applied.
1 again?
A 1 is difficult to work with, disorganized, and inability to comply with regulations and instructions.
Okay. So a couple of them you gave a 2 to, just because they were first-time applicants.
That 2 shouldn't have been first-time applicants. I know, for example, Raw got a 2 because they've given money back on more than one occasion.
Got it.
And so we've had to reallocate money in later years. So that's usually what a 2 is about.
Cool.
But that's still a well-taken point, and
Yeah.
in future years, we might need to adjust the scoring to split out those 2 questions.
So now do we start saying? I think,
Yeah.
this is my personal, I mean, Kids on the Move isn't going away. So to fully fund them for for sanitation, and you look what they're gonna use it for versus maybe mental health. That's, my priority would go someplace else, because they're using it to get some sanitation and to fund the kitchen help. But their program will still exist. They'll just have to use a different sanitations.
Yeah, they were the ones with $2 million.
Yeah. Kids on the Move is not going away, and they have a lot of friends in the community.
Which is, I mean, there may be a couple, I'd be surprised if any of these go away, right?
Okay, but Kids on the Move will not go away. I mean, if you cry.
Which I don't disagree.
Yeah. And I love
United
that,
Way
and
wouldn't go away.
and I send people there.
Yeah.
But they get a lot, I mean, when you look at what they're going to use their money for,
Yeah,
to me, it's on a lower priority than some of the others.
yeah, that's fair.
So I myself would vote not to fully fund them?
Do you wanna suggest a different amount or to not fund at all and?
I'm just throwing that out for the
I
rest of the
agree,
people.
I think you,
But I know, obviously, we voted all different, that if we did want to fund them.
So their average committee score was a 12.75, which is
It's what?
it's a 12.5 out of 20 for your committee score for Kids on the Move, so that's.
I feel really good about the general consensus. I'm like, wow, guys, go team, because I feel like, I also look at how much they could do with each dollar. Like the smile, the restorative smiles, like I love their mission and their mean, clean, fighting machine. And what they can do with $85 is a heck of a lot more than Wasatch or family support and treatment. Although as a family member, I have a family member with severe mental illness, our mental health system is broken, we need help there, but I just see so much good being done with the dollar here that, you know, I like to see bang for the buck, for sure.
Can I ask a clarifying question for the Family Support Treatment Center? So they said if a client has CDBG, is CDBG funded, they're still charging $85 to the client?
No, they're charging the account that they got from
Okay.
CDBG.
So they're not
So
charging the
there,
client anything?
yeah, so there is some copay.
There still is a copay.
There is a copay,
Okay.
right. I can't remember.
Not
we just-
always,
Let
sometimes
me
it's
pull,
completely
let me pull up their last
Okay.
invoice and we can go back there
I
in
just,
a second.
the difference, the Friends of Utah County Children's Justice Center, it is 100% free, they charge $75 an hour.
Right.
Just wanting to know.
I thought the family support was a sliding scale, but.
Yeah, she did say it was a sliding scale.
It depends on the situation.
She said sliding scale based on income and family size. With a copay.
So Kids on the Move got 5,000 last year across the board, because they only applied to one of them.
Who did?
Kids on the Move.
So to your point, Stephanie, 10,000 would still be an increase, 7,500 would be an increase from nothing.
Yeah. And I just write down like how much every person spends, and like the Smile one is only $30 per client.
There's always one of these in every group, and I love this one.
But
$30 per client helps. It's for the smile one.
All right, so you would like to see a different amount than fully funding Kids on the Move? Is it a zero or is it something other than that?
Well, if we do 5,000, just see what happens to the other numbers, because this will adjust in real time, right?
Yes.
This is so cool.
So that obviously would be 15,000 available.
Is that going to automatically go up to Mountain Land? Or?
No.
It doesn't automatically go up there. So I guess
Somewhere to put it.
we could do a couple of things. We could find a place for those $15,000, or you could, if you feel that someone else should not get the full request, we could pull that out and then see what's left and start allocating what's left.
Or
That's
should we
just
start at the top and just discuss them, and then we can keep a tally of how much money we're saving or spending, and then
okay.
see what goes?
So
So here's a question. So when I do this, it says on line item A and B, it says 58% goes to the clientele that we're serving, right? So when you look on any of these, like 8, and it says project scope, and it says like the percentage of clients that will benefit from this project. So some of them say 100%, some of them say 58%. So
What's your question?
so my question is, shouldn't we be looking at how much bang goes into the client? I mean, is that a priority for us?
About low income, low
The cost per beneficiary is based on clients in the area though.
Oh, okay.
It's not based on A, it's based on C.
Okay, right, yeah.
So Family Support charges $85.
Do you have a sliding scale or no?
No, it's all 85. At least that's what they charged
Yeah, that's what
us.
she said. Mhm.
But there was out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So out of 8 of those, 8 of those, there was co-payments of $205.
Out of 8,
So there was 8 submittals, and there was $205, which was actually a credit, so they weren't charging us quite 85, so
So that'd be an
whatever.
average of $25 per.
Right.
Okay, so you wanna go through just top to bottom, discuss each application, if they should get fully funded or maybe adjusted, is that what you wanna do?
Okay, that'd be the first one.
Okay.
Center for Women is the first one.
No, wait, you're not at the top.
I am at the top because, oh, sorry. Sorry, I did miss that one.
No, keep going up.
That's just, that's capital project. Oh. Oh, wow.
Trust us.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so there we go. Mountain Lands Community Health. They're already about half the request.
I would like to think that we're going to bump that one up.
Yeah, I agree.
Bump that up?
Yep.
Is that what you said?
I would like to think that, I mean, I'm one person, so.
I second that.
Is that because so many people use it,
Yep.
right, from everywhere?
It's somewhat.
Up to what?
Fully funded.
See where we're going there.
I agree, there's not anybody else who really does what they do.
It's a wide range of dental to healthcare, it's just, yeah, it's not anything pretty that makes it, crowns and stuff, but they take away pain and they get people out.
Yeah.
And then share their office space with.
Yeah. They really help homeless.
Feel warm fuzzies about that one.
Okay, next, Friends of Utah County Children's Justice Center.
I said fully fund that one.
Do what?
Have
I
we
would
fully
say
funded
fully
them have we fully funded them in the past?
No, we've never fully funded any of these, as far as I know.
No, last year.
At least from Provost and.
We fully funded a couple of them, didn't we?
Those were the ones assigned to us.
They were, Project Read, Police Victim Services, and another one, Circles. Yeah.
Utah County gave $30,000 last year.
We gave them,
Okay, I've got something here.
we gave,
can't spend that.
we only gave them 5.
In a year.
So what did they get last year? Then total?
15.
So let me tell you, so we're looking at,
Do you have this combined?
yes, I have it here, from last year.
Provo.
Friends of Children's Justice Center requested a total of $42,000. And they were funded over that, $62,400.
Wow, everybody likes them every time, huh?
So they were funded over that.
Children's Justice Center.
Yeah, we're talking from Utah County, Orem, and Provo.
Yeah, her
Stephen
presentation
Children's
this
Justice
time was
Center.
kind of lame,
Yeah,
but last year
most.
she like had stats and she was like on it. This time was
That's the one.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about Mountain Lands, sorry.
Oh, no, sorry, yeah. I was
No.
thinking Children's Justice.
Mountain Lands was,
We did 19.4 out of 20.
they were funded $25,000 last year.
In total?
So Friends
Total.
of Utah County, are we doing fully funding?
they got 25 last year.
No, 62.
No, 62.4.
Wait, how are you getting 62?
All three.
You can come look at it.
Oh, you gave them money as well? 'Cause they didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've got the combined here from Provo and
Can I
Utah
just
County,
take a peek? 'Cause they
from
didn't
last
do
year,
the
yeah.
correct information then.
30.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, it's because the Provo one isn't in our book, is it?
No.
That's why.
Okay.
So we fully funded them last year?
At 60.
No, we funded them more than they asked for.
Oh. They always score well.
Because I guess they over asked for each of us and we
Yeah.
all gave them close to their full ask in each department or each group,
A
so.
whole different strategy this year.
Right.
Yeah.
So is it a full 70 or not?
No.
Question still. What is it gonna be if it's not a full 70?
What was it last year?
62.4.
Should we went to last year?
We can do that.
Keep them at a state level.
62.4? Okay.
Or just 6,200 guys, or 62,000.
Or 63.
What about 60,000?
60,000.
I guess.
Is that good? Okay.
So which one is it that they might pull? Is it the food part or
It would be this one,
It's that one.
yes. They make
How
pool.
do we?
I say, they got the funding from
Based
the,
upon what we know
I
right
say,
now.
I say we give,
The difference here, yes, it's a lot of money, but what they're saying here is with the $25,000, they are funding those that provide the service. So
Okay.
with the
But they're the ones
$240,000,
that
they're buying
if-
food
If,
for the pantry.
so if they get the money from the vending machines, then.
They have the money for the vending machine.
I know, but
They
if
just
they
need to
can-
know whether they can use that for salaries.
Because I got some money from the vending machine, and it does say, there's a little disclaimer that we signed, maybe they didn't, that we can use the money as we see fit to run the program. But maybe they didn't sign that, but I know my Welcome Baby, we did sign that. So I say we take them to
Yeah,
zero.
I do too.
And then do all the others and then decide, but I'm talking a lot. So you guys can start.
Well, that's new money for them this year, that's huge. I agree.
Yeah, and they will probably get that, and they have to spend it in a year. We have to spend that money we get from the vending machines in the calendar year. So, and they can be, they will probably be accepted next year to be the vending machine.
Yeah, it's almost ongoing money now for them.
Yeah.
It is.
So let's
So is that a zero then?
zero.
Okay. Next one is, not that one. Community action with the housing support. Last year on that project, they received a total of $5,000. That was from Provo. They have not drawn down that money yet.
Zero.
I talked to Karen yesterday, and she said that they do use other funding. They're going to make sure that they draw those $5,000. The year prior, they had $9,000, and they returned $5,000 because of the same reason.
That's what yes, they consistently left money on the table this year.
For this particular,
All programs
Oh.
across. They have-
I'm talking about this particular
Right,
project,
no,
program.
but community action, everything we funded for them, they always leave money on the table every year.
Okay.
It's not the same experience with
We've
us.
only funded
That's
for
why I'm
food,
just talking about
so-
the one.
Yeah,
They take all their money. They've never left.
What
money
percentage would you say they?
I can look up if we give them it, but it's always, we usually give them like 20.
This is kind of a confusing part because you were talking about housing, right? We would like to fund it, but if they're not using it, then,
Somebody else can use it.
yeah.
In 2018, we got 18,000.
No. That is right now not funded. Would you like to see it that way, or you want to change that?
$0 for their housing support.
Leave it that way?
Yeah, if they're not using money, they already got it.
Okay.
Do
so-
they know that that's a reason why, I mean, when you guys report to them, is there reporting back because the funds weren't used, or is it just you didn't get it?
We could give feedback, but I know as I reach out and their contract is expired, you know, they have left money on the table, but I always let them know that that doesn't look good in future years
Okay.
when they're applying.
Yeah. So the next one is Center for Women and Children. Last year, they were funded $27,888.
Actually, it was 28, so.
Nice.
So,
This is domestic violence, right?
yes.
And there aren't many other options.
Yeah, I
That is
did.
such a growing
Okay.
trend.
So leave it fully funded then.
Yep.
And it's actually housing too, because they're providing housing for.
And they run a mean machine over there too.
Okay, family support last year was funded $19,670. And at least with Provo, they have been drawing down the funding appropriately. You guys funded them.
We gave them money.
How's the drawing down? Are they using it?
They've used it, I mean, they've almost used it all.
So say again the total last year for.
$19,670.
I personally say 15,000 on that one because, like I said, I just don't love that they just can't make their money work really hard.
How about we match what they got last year? So you're saying they used it, right? So, which is 20, was that 20 what I heard?
Close to, 19,670.
Some of their services, like, I know they're not saying they're using it for that, but some of their services, they there's not any place else that has it in Utah County, like you
That's
were talking
true.
about Mountain. There's no other place in Utah County that has the 24-hour
Respite.
respite nursery, or the, so I say we fund at least 20, just because they have services that other places don't have.
Okay, 20 on that one. Friends of the Coalition,
Oh, is
They
that the
rec-
food bank? Is that?
no, that's the homeless,
Homeless
homeless meals, yes.
Yeah, they do
Last year they
have
were
that.
funded $18,000.
And that's for housing, right?
No, that's for
their
meals.
food, that's for their meals.
That's for the meals for homeless.
Because they have their housing in place. Okay, but I thought he said that they were trying to get more housing. So this is.
They are.
They are, but this funding is not for that. This funding is for the meals.
How
And
about-
they received 18,000 last year.
And they used it.
Yeah,
Was Food and
They-
Care, didn't they get money from, weren't they on the giving machines too?
No.
They weren't.
I don't think so.
Okay.
so you want to leave that there?
Well, it's good to get all these people on.
They'll never get on the commissions.
Do you want to leave this one as it is? Okay.
Community actors on the giving machines. I
They
don't
tend
see
to take
Carol
that money
get- I
and
mean,
then
it's too
get
similar.
like way more food than that from
Yeah.
different places, but they have to administer it some way, so. it-
Okay.
It works out pretty well.
Community Health Connect was, received 9,700 last year. So almost 10,000.
Remind me what this group does, specialty care.
They connect people with doctors and dentists.
And you know, they really, the people that I send there, and probably some of you have, are the people that have given up. They've been denied Medicaid, or they've been denied, and it's because of one little thing, but it's like the Project Read lady said, the mountain of paperwork they have to go through. So these people work so tirelessly to get those connected, to make sure, they really do a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
To
How
help
many
people.
people they serve, how many people do they serve per year?
I would imagine.
That's why they come up.
And she uses all her money.
And they're,
And she only.
they're right
besides-
next to Mountain, they're in the same building,
Yeah.
they're just.
And their cost per client is $20.
Boom.
So you want to leave it funded at 12?
Wait, how much did they get last year?
90, what did I say?
We just say 10?
Yeah, almost 10,000.
Should we do 10?
10.
10?
I support 12, but someone said 12.
The problem is next year, they're gonna be like, oh, we only got 10, we asked for 12. Like, I just feel like, next year, what do we do? It's hard to take money away from them.
Well, let's go for a consensus, we're gonna say 11, hit in the middle.
They don't have to be even numbers.
Well, splitting it, that's.
I'll let it to 11.
11?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every dollar counts.
That one makes me sad,
Okay.
but if they're not using the money.
Who's not? using it?
Raw.
Oh, raw.
Well, no, they don't draw down, they will draw down. Cheryl is overwhelmed, she's doing just about everything there, the program is going, it's just a matter of getting her to fill out the paperwork.
Last year they received 47.5. What's the percentage you say they've drawn down so far?
Nothing yet, I
Oh.
just spoke with her in the hallway and it's on her desk.
Okay.
But is she going to
For how
draw
much?
all of that?
When is
That's a good
it,
question.
do they have till end of June?
The contract expires June 30th, but then they have a few months after to
The
work
work has
on.
to be done.
So you got 4,000 and they're asking for 48?
No.
Oh.
They received 47.5.
Oh, okay.
They're asking
Oh.
for 48,750.
Okay, all right.
So when we worked with him, not this year, but last year, she drew down all of her funding.
Yeah, I think she will, and I will say, out of all the organizations, they probably have the least amount of funding sources than any of the nonprofits that we work with. A lot of, adults with severe disabilities. Yeah, they're a very forgotten clientele.
Yeah.
What if we funded them fully and see what would it do to the rest of the people?
You want to
I don't know.
fully funded
I don't know.
or at least what they received last year? Last year was 47.5.
I I think that she works hard, she must.
Yeah.
But there can be a lot of waste if you're just doing it in haste at the last minute too. Sounds like she.
But I don't know, is she doing it in haste or is she not, she's not reporting?
Yeah, the program is being implemented, it's just.
She's not.
Her
reporting.
getting to the point of getting the paperwork ready for it.
Which I like, because it means she doesn't have to have a, do you give them the funding? They have to spend their own money first
Yes.
and then a reimbursement?
This is always a
So I
reimbursement.
do like that she can go this far before asking for a reimbursement, because it means she really is being really careful with her numbers, and she has this much of a rainy day fund type of thing.
So again, the question is, do you want to fully fund what they're asking for or what they received last year?
Or something else altogether.
Or something else?
It's pretty
Yes.
close, correct?
Yeah.
47.5 to 48.750, or something
Our
else.
leading experts, you have the pulse.
No, I don't.
No, you
I
really
mean,
do.
those are the kind of people, like, when they're, you see
Yeah,
them.
well, it
the
doesn't. It gives me
parents
two
that
numbers.
take
I
care
have
of
to
those
calculate that.
disabled. My heart just-
70,000.
So has she given money back
70,000.
in years? No. So she's.
This, we've only funded them,
I think it should be
once, it's been several years, yeah, for our program.
Have you guys seen their building?
It's,
Yeah.
It's sad.
It's getting better.
Needs to ask one for those capital grants next year.
They have had,
She's done some.
Oh, she has.
yes. They've
And
had, they've made some improvements last year and the year before.
They did,
So,
so
yeah.
it's nicer this year?
So back to the public service part. What do we want to fund that for? Where did I go with that? I moved.
Oh my, oh,
I was looking at the bottom, see what was available. There we go.
There you go.
Right there.
oh man, we're already out of money. If they were already, if they were zero and now we're gonna fully fund them, then that's all of our savings plus some from above. So we're gonna have to scrape some off the top somewhere else.
I think somewhere down the line, you still have Boys and Girls Club funds
That's
at
fully
$50,000.
Right.
Oh, really? Okay. And we're not gonna do that, so, okay.
We're okay.
Why didn't you do
We'll-
45?
we'll-
45? Yeah.
45 going once?
Okay,
Going
and
twice?
everyone next year go visit them, so I'm not the only one.
45
so sorry.
going,
It's my most satisfying.
45, there we go. NHS, this is the financial education. This is,
When I was asking about housing, that's the reason I was asking, is because they've got a one-time ask to increase capacity, and they'll then get reimbursed the next years, so that for year to year, he'll have that much more being helped.
Right.
And so that's why I was wondering about, I mean, for the housing priority, they had the best.
Yeah.
Have
I
you
agree.
funded them with this before?
no,
And we haven't either.
no, this is the first time ask.
How much money do we have left? Any?
Don't worry about that.
Don't forget.
We'll come back and trim.
Let the US government
Yeah, otherwise, it makes things harder. We'll come back and trim.
They don't come unless they have something specific that they can use and then get other funding for in the future. And that's why it was a higher priority on me, and because I had been reading this and seeing that the priority was housing. And you do have people trying to get into new housing, but keeping someone in their house is just as important.
I
as
agree.
housing.
In fact, I think it's cheaper to do it that way.
Yeah, and it also, because those people also have to go through other kinds of learning opportunities to be able to qualify for that. They're usually, going forward, you also end up with next generation learning better about how to stay in their house.
Amen.
So give me a number.
I would want to fully fund them, but that was me, I mean, that was.
For now, anybody opposed to that?
Okay.
They'd be close to what to do anyway.
Speak up.
I fully fund their first year. Makes me a little nervous. Even though I really like this organization, it makes me a little nervous to fully fund the first year.
You have a different proposal. What is
I'd
that?
say 20.
20. Anybody have a problem with 20?
Did you say if they get the staff, then someone else will fund the staffer out
In
the first year?
future years, because
So they're not gonna come
if they
back.
have more capacity that they're helping.
Because they'll get other government.
So they're looking at it not as their first year, but as the
As
one
in
time.
done. Got it. Okay, then I'm fine with 20.
So, okay, we'll leave it
We'll
at,
have to hold them to it next year.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
they come back, we'll say.
okay. Big brothers and big sisters asking for $10,000. They have not been funded by any of us in at least the last 5 or 6 years.
We probably funded 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
See, this is one that I feel passionate about because I feel like if you can catch a youth in this really vulnerable period and I have a son that we had applied to be part of this program, and we were really excited. He ended up moving somewhere else, but the idea that a mentor can change the life of a teenager, this is where the drugs happen and the criminal behavior happens. If we can redirect that, then we save tons of money elsewhere. And of all the kids' programs, this is my favorite.
Well, what if we fund them fully and take away from the Boys and Girls Club? Because they don't have a STEM club anymore. And they say in the pamphlet they do.
That's why it's.
Also, I think 10,000 is a really small ask. If they feel like they can make a huge difference with 10,000, then I think it's a big deal.
I know BYU, that's why I asked them, because BYU has a Boys and Girls Club, but it's a little bit different.
It's not Boys and Girls Club, it's a mentoring program
It is
that
a
BYU
mentoring?
does, yeah.
But it's not the same
I
program.
can't remember what it's
They
called.
can't use BYU students as bigs because they're too transient. Bigs are
Oh.
actually adults.
Okay.
So give me a number.
10.
Hey, do 10.
Okay, there we go.
You told us to do it.
If we're not worrying about it.
Community action, Circles, last year, they received $26,000. They've used all of their funding. Here they have
And
none.
for my calculation, they are one of the higher, it costs $192 a person.
Yeah, she did talk about this as sort of a long haul
Yeah.
solution, so that cost per beneficiary is gonna be higher, because it's, 2 years with the client.
They left, we funded Circles in 2018 at $28,000. They left. Hold on, they left my own table up here. They left my own.
Stephanie, it's called Provo
Well-
Youth Mentoring through YSERV.
Is it sort of like Big Brothers, because they use our
It's
building?
it's more helping with schoolwork and stuff.
Okay, so Circles, for us, they
Circles.
left 10% of their FY18 allocation, and they spent all of their FY19,
Well, they spend most of it. They spend 75% of it.
and they still have a quarter of their year left, so they're on track.
They're on track. Number? Give me a number.
5?
Yeah.
Yes, 0.
We don't fund below 10,000, because administratively it's a pretty big burden. I know Warren will do 5, but I'm just saying, it's a pretty hefty burden for them on the reporting and stuff, so.
Well, we don't get as much money as others do
Yeah,
either,
that's
so.
not a criticism of how you do it, I'm just
So why
saying.
would you say zero?
They get their meals, I would have to go look back, but it's $192.30 per client. And if they're using mentors that don't get paid, and their meals are provided by other, maybe I guess I'd have to go look and see if they're asking for another staff member.
This must be
It does.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty familiar with Circles.
It's an
And
amazing program.
It's an amazing program. There's a lot of staff time used. It's not just the mentoring, the allies as they're called. There's a lot of staff time used through the coaches and stuff to help these people get through what they need.
Their request is $16,000 for salary and benefits and $4,000 into their general administration pool.
How much?
$4,000 into their general administration pool.
Where are you? I have 5,000. Oh, is that what they did? Okay.
They should not be printed differently.
Yeah.
So here,
Why don't you just do 10?
Give me a number. 10? Did I hear 10?
yeah.
I could throw out numbers.
10,000.
You're the one that's saying cookies, we're listening to you, so.
So can I give a comment about Boys and Girls Club? They made huge asks from us last year. The same $50,000, Utah County funded $16,700. We have yet to receive drawdown on our report. Same thing, they could be implementing the program, but nothing.
They were implementing when I met with them on their site visit.
Okay.
That was exactly what had happened.
They did take the $16,700 instead of $50,000.
No, because we also funded them.
Oh, okay, what is?
So the total was 31,700.
31,700.
And
We didn't.
they have drawn,
They didn't, she said.
Yeah, we didn't last time.
Oh, was it?
Boys and girls. They've,
It wasn't ready yet.
Yeah.
The
they've
map-
drawn
the map
30% of it.
Right, is that
drawn
right? Lots of unknowns.
30%.
They do
So-
give a lot of food for after-school programs.
So give me a number. Give me a number.
But if they haven't used it,
Same as last.
Same as last year, 31.7.
Oh, guys, that's so generous, people.
We'll come back. This is not final. It's not final, Sarah. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Share a smile. They're not funded at all. This is the first time asking for money.
And we need to give them at least 10.
No, you can give them money. That's perfectly acceptable. Ormans have a much smaller pot. I'm just saying, when you get that low, you start to think about, can we be effective?
But if if it's all coming from one pot, then do they still have to go through 3 entities for this money now?
No, so, what we're going to do is, when possible, assign them to one of us.
Very cool.
But if that's not possible, based on clientele, we'll each pitch in
That's
some
neat.
money
Okay,
together
cool.
to get to whatever.
So it will make it easier.
Yeah.
You know, I can, if this is the right group, I can feel okay about not funding them in the fact that there are people that have basic needs. This is more cosmetic, correct? Isn't that what Sheriff Smile is?
It's restorative.
It's
so
restorative, it's cosmetic.
dentures and-
We're talking people just to feed them, shelter them. This seems a little bit above that.
Well, and I think we have some dental places that will still do restoration too. They're not the only one.
But if you're talking about breaking back into the workforce after recovery, teeth are the first, I mean, like a drug, those people have major teeth problems, that's a huge a door closed in their face for anything they want to do. And they run really clean too, they're really, she said they get, 90-something% donated?
I'm waiting for a number.
I say 10,000.
10? Okay, Rocky Mountain.
What did you do? What
Last
did you do
year,
last year?
what's that? Last year, they received 27,343, and they spent that for 6 months.
Let's do 20.
Give them 20? Okay. Kids on the Move. We already talked about that one. Building Beginnings. Last year was their first year. They received 15,000. They spent all of the $750 on it already.
Wasn't this the one that they said they were gonna match post-incarcerated people with jobs, and that it was the girl that was taking these people in her own personal car to jobs and stuff? Was that her? Was that the same organization?
No, this is she just came today. I don't think she said anything about that.
Last year when we funded them, was it, were they the ones that were taking, no?
I don't think so.
They do have a job component because the founders have a construction company.
It's the same people as last
Oh,
year.
okay.
They started that last year.
So they'll take Very
Okay,
different
sorry, I
people.
didn't remember that. So a number. Again, last year they got 15.
I found them hard to evaluate from her presentation. She just kind of told stories. So how effective are they? Can they use the money? So I'm a little wary.
She was a last minute decision
Was she?
to come. She was telling me that the lady who was supposed to be doing the presentation went into labor about 2 hours ago.
Oh.
Excuse
So
me.
I said that wasn't a reasonable answer, but that was a considering factor.
Yeah, that's
I
me,
like, you guys should know.
Is it the owner, the founder just went into labor? Because she's the one that presented last year.
I did not ask.
She has
which
her
lady
stuff in order.
Was the one giving birth.
They give you a name? Maddie?
I did not ask.
Was Maddie supposed to come?
Something that the Utah County Committee discussed last year was, the opioid crisis is huge. It needs multiple partners and agencies. It's so much bigger than a CDBG program. There's also a lot of nonprofit rehabs popping up all over that ultimately end up being for-profit. And so I would just use a word of caution that this is a bigger problem, and drug rehabs are popping up on every corner. They're siloed, and I think this is a bigger problem than CDBG. Is what the Utah County Committee discussed last year, and ultimately we did not fund them.
And I'm fine not funding them. So.
I mean, that's not a great score either from the committee or staff, so that's a justifiable decision.
So I guess we're good with 0 on that one, okay? Rocky Mountain, this is the CDC application, CCD application. First time they've come for that money? You funded this or capital project on it?
Oh, I remember the capital. Yeah, we also did communication disorders, I'll have to look up.
We did the service part of that.
Yeah.
And Vic was saying
And how
that
much?
he does realize that his amount has been cut down because you don't want to keep funding his programs.
How much did you fund them last time?
Is Rocky Mountain a for-profit university though?
But they, yes, they are.
This is the foundation, it's not the university, it's the
They are, but they,
university's foundation.
it is like the one gentleman was saying tonight, I don't know if they said it on Monday night. It's a great place for people that are going to school to get their training and get real life experience and being able to be mentored by professionals.
It seems to me they have access potentially to other funding,
Yeah.
I agree.
so I'm not sure. So
I would just like to focus, if this is not helping the university, it's helping the individuals that go to those clinics, which are typically low, moderate income individuals.
But I know this university has
Yeah.
deep pockets.
In 2018, we funded them $25,000 for this exact
Project?
project, and they left $5,800 on the table.
They did?
Yep.
Amazing.
That's surprising.
So give me a number.
That's not my favorite project.
Give me a number. It could be 0.
Zero.
I vote 0.
Okay. Project Read.
I would like to give them something.
Yeah, I would too.
They were funded $17,000 last year.
She works for a butt off.
Yes, she
Yeah.
does.
They need a billboard. That was the best joke of the week, wasn't it? Wouldn't be very effective though. Remember?
10.
10?
I'll agree with that.
What
10?
did they get last year? You said 17.
17,000 last year.
From program.
Okay, the next one isn't in this funding.
Well, Friends of Utah.
That's their
Kids who
capital
count,
project.
so that's it,
So that's
right?
Okay, what's up
That's
now?
it.
So how over budget are we?
We are over $127,000.
Whoa.
No? Oh,
So that middle number, we've used up 814,700, so we're actually under, because we have 8.
oh, okay, because that includes the capital project. Thank you.
We are under.
By how much?
To throw more money
We
at
got
people?
play money, go back up.
So,
5,300.
That's pretty close though.
How about
Good.
to,
Like, we should get a award every year at the medal.
that 5,000.
Let me do something. I'm gonna sort by trial amount now.
Let's give Project Read
Yeah.
5,000.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that
Let's
we.
fund our billboard for at least 2 months. Yeah.
That didn't work very well. If that's a 0, I thought I did
Oh,
sorted.
Wait, why would we fund one of the Rocky Mountain things but not the other?
Well, the
Question.
rehab clinic is up and running and has like demonstratable numbers that they can show. The speech one.
They're up and running, because
Yeah.
they hold a class at the community center.
Yeah, they helped my niece.
Yeah, they do good work.
So what if we gave both of them half? Their presentations were really rough. The first one on the speech was really rough. The second one they had, like I said, more numbers.
Yeah, they do it they come in every week, do a speech class at South Franklin, and they work with the kids to help them with their speech and their math. And we have about 10 kids they help each week.
can we just quickly sort by total score just to see if there's any really glaring things that we couldn't justify reasonably for why they did or didn't get money?
That's one of them, the CCD.
The food bank, but we talked about the giving machines, okay.
Housing support, again, was discussed. Building beginnings.
So if we stop on Project Read, they're back.
Say that again?
We go back to Project Read. So that's one I would
Yep.
like to get more to.
15,000. We could do 15,300 and.
I think that puts us over, but double check.
I thought you said it was 5,000.
Oh, yeah, okay, you're right, so you have 300 left.
Yeah, so let's do 300 more for Project Reading, call it done.
Oh, okay, hold on.
But what about your
Fund
guys'
community action at
numbers,
all?
are they good?
Do we fund community action at all?
I think circles.
Did we do anything we did circles
Yeah.
Circles in front of the
We could
Circles
give
was funded.
Circles another 300.
Circles isn't community action, is it?
Yeah.
It
Oh,
is.
it is.
It is.
It's always thought
Okay,
it
what are
was
we at, can you
big.
give me the first total and I'll just.
That should put us right on.
Yeah. I'm impressed that.
687,
it's not
$354.
$55,000.
Yeah,
So
that's-
we have $498 left, I'm sorry. My bad,
How much?
498 more. Do you wanna just throw that at Project Read? Or whatever you want.
Community action,
Doesn't matter.
Here?
Project Read, yes.
Project Read.
No,
What was it, 498?
Yeah, 498, sorry.
She'll get that number out and she'll be like, why is it this number?
Are we good now?
She better spend every last dime.
498, that's how much we have.
820498?
Should we look through it one more time?
but are your numbers okay with how we fund it?
Yeah, that's what we just checked.
Yeah.
That's what we just checked.
Yeah.
So then we have Rocky Mountain, the CRC clinic is funded at half the request, 20,000. Center for Women, fully funded at 30,000. Family support, less, what is that? About 40%, maybe 35%, $20,000. Children's Justice Center, 10,000 shy at 60,000. Friends of the Coalition fully funded at 20. Boys and Girls Club, 31 out of the 50 they asked. Community Health Connect, 11,000 of the 12. The CCD for Rocky Mountain is 0. The food bank for community action is zeroed out. Kids on the Move, $5,000 of the 20 they asked. Mountain Lands, fully funded at 50,000. RA, $45,000, shy of 48,750. The food bank, no funding, out of 25, sorry?
The housing support project, sorry.
No, I
Oh,
really
housing
wonder-
support, right,
I wonder
housing
if we
support.
should put some money there though, because that's one of the only housing ones.
And yeah, we should.
Yeah, but the thing is that they've not drawn the funding.
know.
Or we put it there and they don't use it.
I know.
That's hard. Project READ, 15,498 out of 1,700. Community action, the Circles project, 10,300 out of 20,000, so a little over 50%. Build It Beginnings, 0% or $0. Share a Smile, 10,000 out of 15. United Way, that's a different animal. Neighborhood Housing Services Education Program, 25,000. There's they're asked. Big Brothers Big Sisters, fully funded at 10,000. That is it. So,
So did everyone get money except the Smiles
Building Beginnings.
and?
No, Smiles got money. They
Okay, they did.
didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
I thought they did.
Zeros at the top to make it.
I tried to do that and it wouldn't. I hit that button and it.
And it worked
Oh,
this time. There
see?
you go.
No, it's 20 and 30 and 50. I don't know what it's doing.
Okay.
So the zeros are the food bank, the CCD for Rocky Mountain, and that's it.
Isn't the.
Oh, one more. Building Beginnings didn't get any money.
Okay, just go all the way down to make sure. The housing.
And, yep, and the housing support didn't get any money. So Smiles got 15,000, which is what they were
Does
asking
housing
for.
support leave their money every year? I looked back and read through their project goal and it's to help people pay.
Right?
rent.
It's surprising.
Well, do they like help people with their deposits and stuff?
So here's the thing, is that they have different funding that they use to cover those services. And as I was talking to Karen about it yesterday, she said, yes, well, what we need to do is make sure that we use this other funding, CDBG funding, to cover that. But the fact remains that 2 years ago, they had $9,000 and they returned almost half of that. This year, they have $5,000 they have not drawn yet. She assured me they will this year, but it's a little of a toss-up.
So when they return money, where does it go?
We just reprogram it for future years.
Oh, it comes back in the future years.
Yeah.
So what if we did?
But it is a bit of a problem because one of the rules that we have with CDBG, we have a timeliness test. By the end of April, we cannot have more funding available than 1.5 times what we received for that year's allocation. So when we get money back and we have to reprogram, that poses a bit of a problem.
Yeah,
to
and
meet.
we'll release our next allocation
Yeah.
if we do have the excess money, so.
Yeah.
Causes a problem for everyone,
What's that? Yeah.
causes a problem for other program
Right.
people.
So,
And that money, like, we said, could have gone somewhere else where they really used.
where they would have used it.
It's not gonna kill their program if we don't fund it.
No, absolutely
Well,
not.
Kenna, you worked with them more than anyone probably with Houses for Habitat, haven't you?
Well, I just feel like because of continuum, like
Yeah.
because of our priorities in the housing
Sure.
continuum, because of our priorities, I think it might be advantageous for us to throw 5,000
Okay.
at them and take it off of NeighborWorks and give them 20, and then it would,
Off of like Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
or that, I mean, I'm just thinking, I was just kind of trying to reduce our housing.
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay.
Okay.
That's just me, Bill, that you don't need
Well,
my.
no, we do, because you're.
I just feel like
You know
because
that.
of the priorities of the community and because housing is such a priority and we have such a homeless problem right now, that, I think she'll use the money, and if we say to her,
This is your last
this
chance.
has gotta be,
Remember.
this has gotta be used.
So there was a proposal to take that money off Boys and Girls Club in the corner here.
And that, is it 5,000 or a different amount?
I would do 5,000 like Ken said.
And Kenna's gonna manage that one.
Yeah.
Probably. It's okay.
Boys and girls, was it?
It's not 2. It's not 1,000, I've done that before.
Where's boys and girls? There it is.
That was the worst.
So out of this one?
Yes, good call. This is some serious math you have to do, we're all watching.
26.7, right? Sorry, what was that? I was trying to,
26.7.
There you go. Way too long.
Okay, I'm gonna apologize, I'm sorry, but there was one square missing for Rocky Mountain's Community Rehab Clinic. I think we're already funding them, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna grab that square after the fact so we have it in our record.
oh, you have not entered it?
Okay.
Yeah, there's a square missing.
They did really well.
They did, and they got funding, so it doesn't mess up anything we're doing, sorry.
Okay.
I thought that was the Center for Communication Disorders and maybe they weren't getting funded because we said.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
All right, does everybody feel good about this? Where we're at?
Fuzzy, warm fuzzy.
We want to make an action on it?
Yeah, so usually the motion
Okay.
to make this on your request.
Okay.
I will motion that.
Do we want to, does everybody understand what's there, what's not there? I think we went through it. It's hard to see it at a glance in one sheet. Okay, I would entertain a motion to accept the allocations as we have reviewed and modified that are currently on that screen. Motion?
Joey?
Joey, second?
By Stephanie?
Stephanie? Okay, all in favor, let's raise your hand, let's do that.
Very good.
Okay, unanimous.
Thank you so
Is Joey
much.
still on the phone?
I think the phone call's still going. Or my battery's dead.
I think so, because it's not turning up.
I told her I was available by email, I haven't got anything since she said it.
Okay, I was just wondering.
I told her, yeah, she could get it, so. I'll double check with her to make sure she, well done, everyone. That was some work.
Thank you so much.
So the process from here, Jessica, is determining how we'll split that up amongst.
Yeah, so staff will just go through and,
Yeah.
try to assign
The bread.
what it takes to.
And a
But they will
baked
get that.
potato in the fridge. Yeah, if anyone wants it, there's potatoes in the fridge.